Yo, what's up, guys? This is Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. I'm one of the HCS commentators, and we have another HCS weekly report where today and for the rest of the week, we're going to be going over every single team that's been invited to the HCS Global Invitational over at DreamHack Dallas. We've already done Sentinels, Rebellion, Avengers, Native Quiets, and Gamers First, and now it's time to take on the very complexity. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. But before we get started with the video, we have another question of the day. And I believe Complexity are affiliated with the Dallas Cowboys. And from what I've noticed, you either love the Cowboys or hate the Cowboys. There's no in between. So let me know in the comments down below, do you love or hate the Dallas Cowboys? All right, now let's get started with the video. Complexity, your number 5 seed going into Dallas. You have Cycle, Young Gun, so good at staying alive, picking his spots, and almost like a new age Pistola, if you will, with the way he's able to play his life. It's incredible. I've actually heard people describe him as the most annoying player in the game. Then you have Collect, high damage dealer, and I feel like almost kind of the opposite of Cycle. I feel like Cycle and Collect are both really young and both really good at doing damage. But when I think of Collect, I think of more like an entry frag player, but he also plays his life really well from what I've seen. I actually did a video recently of his ability to stay alive and his decision making on the plays of the week, and it was a really fun one. So make sure you guys check that down below. I'll put that in the comments or somewhere down below. Then you have Monster, who's a great play caller and IGO and communicator, who obviously has a decent shot as well. Combine that with Tusk, who brings kind of a similar characteristics from what I've seen to Monster and from what I've even heard. I've asked Tusk himself, like, what does he feel his strengths are? And he said straight up, his communication and his play calling. He's an in-game coach, and that's valuable to have. And on top of that, he's one of the better pure shooters that we have in our league. Centered reticle, amazing long range shot. Like, to be able to play call while keeping your mechanics down packed and being able to still keep that shot steady, to me is really important and really almost invaluable to a team. And that's what Complexity look like. And obviously, the elephant in the room is, will Complexity compete as well as they have online with on LAN? And I am here to say that over at Charlotte, we did see Complexity, obviously, again without Monster. We saw Cycle and Tusk finish out top 8, which was very good. Honestly, I would even say higher than what I expect them to finish. Top 8, not bad for Complexity. But before we move further, why don't we talk about what pool they're in right now, which is going to be Pool D. And in that pool, you have Native Red, which, by the way, if you have a chance to watch Native Red and Complexity go at it, watch it. Because from what I've seen, there's at least in the past, there was some bad blood between Monster and the Native Red team. Don't know if that still is the case today, but I could definitely say that even if there's no bad blood now, even if there isn't, hey, you got to sit in the back of your mind that that hey, this team said X, Y, and Z. I want to prove them wrong, or hey, we think this player or this team are a bunch of onliners. Now we have the advantage on LAN. I think it's gonna be really fun to watch Native Red go at it with Complexity. And yeah, but I would say if you have the chance to watch this, whether it's on A stream, B stream, C stream D, or on somebody's phone camera, watch that matchup, watch that series. Then you have Navi, arguably number 2 team in Europe. I think they're absolutely phenomenal. They have gone through a bit of changes, but they're obviously a very capable team, especially when it comes to LAN. And then how gonna make me do this? Owl Babobs. I'm just gonna call them the Bobs, who are in this on this team. Another European team, been there, done that, and have earned this spot. It's gonna be really interesting to see Navi and the Bobs go at, especially since the Bobs have actually played Na'Vi really well. So lots of interesting matchups here. And I will say, you probably have Native Red coming out number 1, Complex coming out number 2, but and Na'Vi 3 and the Bobs 4. But I would say out of all of the pools, you know, Pool D and Pool C, it's gonna be really hard to predict. Honestly, I think you can make a good case for Na'Vi getting first place in pools. You can make a good case for the Bobs beating out Na'Vi and taking third in pools. Complexity coming out first. I think Pool D and Pool C are going to be really hard to gauge, especially since this is going to be an online event, which we haven't seen since like late February. We haven't seen online. LAN Halo, you know, in 3 months. So watch out. Pool D might be the real pool of death as opposed to Pool C, like I said in a previous video. Either way, 2 months after Charlotte, we saw a roster made that affected 10 of the top 20 teams in North America. And Complexity actually swapping out half their roster, and I believe this was their first tournament competing with this new roster. And Psycho, Collect, Tusk, Monster went on one crazy run and got second place during this tournament. And it was crazy because, you know, I think I had heard that this team had only had maybe 5 scrims leading up to this event, and for them to come in and do the damn thing like this, honestly, it was an incredible run by them. And why don't we take a look at it as Complexity 3-0 Native White, 3-2'd Optic Gaming, the number 1 team in the world, which was the craziest upset. Then obviously eventually running into FaZe, who seemingly got the best of them in winner's bracket, 3-0 sweep towards FaZe. But I mean, what a run through winner's bracket to make it into the winner's bracket finals, which guaranteed them a top 3 seed to be a top 3 standing to begin with. Then we go to elimination bracket. When Complex got knocked down to elimination bracket, they had to win 1 more series to make it back into the grand finals to try to get their revenge on FaZe. And G1, which we kind of just talked about in the video before, we're going on a crazy run. 8-2 over Space Station Game, 3-0 over Native Red. G1 were hot going into this losers bracket finals. They were hot. Somehow Complexity still come out with the 3-0, come out with that upset, and make it into a grand finals again after going to distance with Optic, after beating out Native White, which also was a very good team as well. After getting 3-0'd by FaZe, they still come out and 3-0 a red hot G1 to make it into the grand finals. Then when they get to that grand finals, only get 1 game away, only a few kills, if not but 1 kill maybe. I can't remember that far, that long ago. Taking FaZe to a game 7, almost resetting the bracket. Complexity eventually lose out to FaZe, who were your champions, but what a run for the first tournament of a team that was looking to make a huge upgrade. Top 8 of Charlotte was already damn good, but what Complexity looked like this tournament was incredible. And then things got weird. After that, you'd see Complexity aren't in the top 8. There was a reason for that. During this event, started on Sunday, eventually finished on Thursday. Number 1, I believe Monster. This is the first time Monster was streaming with his monitor cam. They made a decent run, able to 3-0 the likes of G Squad, ran into Avengers and got 3-0'd by the Avengers. Another great team. We talked about them in one of the videos earlier this week. But I think we all kind of agreed that Complexity didn't look exactly the same from the week before, but they didn't look bad. I mean, losing out to Avengers, arguably a team that you should beat if you are on the upper echelon of Tier 2, looking to maybe make it into Tier 1. Still not, they didn't play bad. But we never got the opportunity to see them on that Thursday because Psycho actually had an important exam that he couldn't skip out on, and he's still in high school. I feel like as a fan, we got robbed into answering like who Complexity really are. After getting second place during the 4K, after getting knocked into elimination bracket by Avengers, they were supposed to finish out their tournament on that Thursday, but we never got to see them on during that event, and more question marks. We were like, okay, well, so are Complexity a top 8 team? Are they a top 2 team? Are they somewhere in the middle? We didn't know. We had to wait to the Phase 4K DreamHack qualifier. The top 3 by Complexity, and when you look at those results, second place during the first 4K, during the 2K, we can't really count that because they never got the chance to actually finish out the tournament. But then third place during the second 4K, the final tournament leading into DreamHack Dallas, you're sitting there like, whoa, Complexity are scary. Complexity looked like the real deal. They looked like a real threat to the upper echelon of teams, and even to the teams that are within their same tier. Complexity were able to not only Complexity were able to 3-0 Sentinels. They ran into Space Station Gaming, who I believe they actually didn't play during the first 4K, so we never got to see that matchup. And Space Station Gaming did get the best of them in a 3-0, knocking them into elimination bracket, and then eventually 3-1 phase. Again, we've talked about Space Station time and time again. They've looked so good recently, and Complexity found that out in the winners bracket semifinals. After getting knocked down to elimination bracket by Space Station Gaming, once again Complexity went up against Optic, and once again Complexity get the best of the number 1 team in the world. And obviously there's been some back and forward, obviously there's been some questions on what is going on here, where Complexity have been going on these crazy runs against second place during the first 4K, beating out Optic in the elimination bracket round 3, going on to 3-1 Native Red, but then seemingly running into a brick wall where FaZe come out with the 3-0. Once again, FaZe they 3-0'd them in the winners bracket finals of the first 4K. Complexity was able to take them into a Game 7 during the grand finals, but then once again, FaZe coming out with another 3-0 here in the losers bracket finals, eventually knocking Complexity down to top 3. Since May 13th, we have seen Complexity putting in the work as far as scrims. Like, many teams kind of took a week off and kind of relaxed for a little bit, but Complexity right to work right after May 13th. 8-0 in Cloud9, 8-1 in Quadrant, but I believe when they played against Quadrant, this was with them over in Europe. Taking 3 out of 10 against Space Station Gaming, not bad. Taking 6 of 12 against FaZe, that's pretty damn good. Complexity 4-2 over Shopify Billion, a little bit of a half scrim there, but not a bad win. Then going up against FaZe again, and this time getting 10-0'd, so a big a big difference in the results going against the same team just 4 days from each other, where you're splitting the difference with them out of 12, and then FaZe coming out with a 10-0 just 3 days ago. Quadrant now here in America early come out with another scrim and another big difference from 8-1, where again the connection probably not too good for Quadrant. Quadrant come out with the 7-4 over Complexity, and then eventually Complexity 9-6 over Shopify Rebellion. And once again, I think Complexity are another team, which is crazy because for the first time that I'm thinking of with HCS, like, it is so hard to gauge where multiple teams are. You know, a lot of times we kind of had favorites, and we knew who was top 8 and who was top 6. And granted, some teams overperformed, some teams underperformed. But once again, I really don't know where to put Complexity on the scale. Like, if you ask me, predict where Complexity plays right now, I would say, maybe top 12, maybe top 8, maybe top 6, and possibly top 4, and I could see them getting top 3 and maybe second place, and damn it, maybe Complexity win the tournament. Like for the first time, it's so hard to put a placing on multiple different teams. I don't know where Complexity are gonna place, but I will say I'm rooting for them. You know, there's been a lot of craziness that has surrounded this team, and obviously mostly around Monster, but I think that also has taken away from what we're seeing with Tusk. You know, like, I feel like Tusk left a lot on the table back in season 1 as a player. As a coach, obviously did great, but didn't really end season 1 as a player the way he wanted to. Now has been phenomenal, even before Monster Collect joined the team. Top 8 in Charlotte, not bad. Psycho and Collect, the young guns, and I kind of talked about this before, of potentially a passing of the torch from the old guard to the new. Like, when that torch does get passed, maybe it's Collect and Cycle that receive that. You know, these young guys that are coming in and that have impressing and playing well beyond their years. They're exciting. They're talented. They're smart. They're good looking. I feel like the craziness that has been surrounding one player on the team has been overshadowing what they've been able to accomplish. And I think the only way for them to kind of, like, shut everyone up, or maybe not everyone, but to shut people up, is to go to LAN and to prove that you're the same caliber of team that we've seen you online. Hopefully they do that. And that's your HCS Weekly Report. Thank you guys so much. Another one in the books, and that was Complexity. Make sure you come back tomorrow on the YouTube, where we'll be going over Native Red and Optic Gaming. Now things get a little bit spicy. You guys don't want to miss that. See you guys tomorrow.